The business of hotels has been around for centuries, and how they make money is worth looking into, as in some form or another, hotels are one of the oldest business still around today, with the first ones predating to medieval inns, Greco-Roman culture, and ancient Persia. Some historians predate the origins of modern hotels to 17th century England. However, since those days, the hospitality business has changed a lot, with Airbnb becoming the latest disruptor to the industry. Beneath the surface, the industry has seen dramatic changes, as in some sense, hotels had actually run an Airbnb-like playbook before Airbnb became a thing. The industry has seen a lot of consolidation, leading to the big three, Hilton, Marriott, and Hyatt, to become the leaders by revenue and profits. On this occasion, we'll break down the industry of hospitality, cover the three main players, look deeper into the case of Hilton, and discover how the industry increased profitability, reduced cyclicality, and why Airbnb is not as large of a threat as is commonly believed. The hotel industry began to evolve in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, with the vision of entrepreneurs like Cesar Ritz, Conrad Hilton, and J. Willard Marriott, each of whom would go on to build the modern hotel chains that we know today. With Conrad Hilton starting in 1925 in Dallas, Texas, J. Willard Marriott in 1927 in Washington, D.C., and Cesar Ritz opening the first Ritz-Carlton in Boston 1927. These became the main hotel chains as they proliferated across the country. The major chains started offering amenities like elevators, laundry, and full-service employees who would attend customers. Each of these moguls contributed to the now standard practices that we expect nowadays from hotels. Originally, these moguls would deploy their own capital and build the hotels themselves. They would own the real estate and sometimes gain more from the real estate appreciation than the business itself. This was a lengthy process and involved heavy capital requirements. Cesar Ritz, for example, became known as the king of hoteliers, as he pioneered luxury accommodations, emphasizing elegance and high standards, which laid the groundwork for five-star hospitality. Conrad Hilton established the first hotel chain, recognizing the potential in standardizing quality and comfort across locations, which expanded access to upscale lodging. And Willard Marriott transformed the industry with an innovative approach to service and growth, starting with a small root beer stand that grew into a global brand known for its customer-centric philosophy. Today, the global hospitality industry encompasses 187,000 hotels, with around 18 million rooms worldwide. The market has been consolidating in the last decade, with the big three, Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt, buying or partnering with smaller operators, with Wyndham and Intercontinental being the next closest competitors. The industry has also been moving towards an asset-light business model, which we will cover further in the video. Prior to looking at the hotel brands or chains, it is worth understanding the unit economics of the most basic hotel. On the surface, hotels seem a simple to understand business, but not so easy to run. Guests pay per night and can select from different levels of service, from high-end all the way to one-star hotels. Hotels have to clean rooms and offer amenities, with fixed costs like labor or rent if the property is not owned. Hotels have a large number of rooms, with the goal being to maximize profit. A room that's not reserved is just pure cost. This is a very important point. Regardless of how much business the hotel is generating, costs continue to run, as hallways have to still be cleaned, housekeepers have to still be paid, and employees have to be kept at the front desk. The nature of this cost is why hotel profits are very sensitive to business cycles. Hotels therefore operate on economies of scale. The larger the customer base and the revenue generated by said customers, the lower those fixed costs become as percentage of revenue. However, travel is cyclical and has high and low seasons. It is not uncommon for hotels to be largely empty on certain days of the week or even entire months. This is why hotel room prices are highly dynamic, unlike, say, the price of basic products like a Coke or a McDonald's combo. The price of a night per room can skyrocket fivefold from low season to high season. Competition can also be fierce, as the customer can easily shop around in sites like Expedia, Trivago, or Booking, with price discovery becoming as frictionless as the scrolling of your mouse. This has led to the shift to the quote-unquote asset-light business model, where the industry has three different players, who work alongside each other: hotel brands, managers or operators, and owners. First, we have the hotel chains. These are the Hiltons and Marriotts. Hotel companies with known brands can franchise these flagship brands to hotel owners or operators. This is what Hilton, Marriott, and Hyatt have mostly become in the last decade. The benefits include less cyclicality, as the brand charges a fee to franchisees based on revenues, even if at a given year the operator can turn a profit. Profit margins and free cash flow also increase as capex and opex are reduced. Hotel ownership. This model entails the highest risk and the highest reward. This is the traditional hotel business model, where you own the land, develop and operate a hotel. It is a very capital-intensive endeavor, with a significant upfront investment. And even after the hotel is built, challenges remain, as whether the hotel is profitable is heavily tied to the business cycle and how demand behaves. However, after covering costs, everything that's generated is your profit. So direct hotel ownership can be the most lucrative model if done correctly, and is the most benefited on up cycles. Hotel management lies in the middle of the other two. These are the companies dedicated to running the day-to-day operations of hotels in exchange for a fee. Tasks include overseeing the day-to-day operations, hiring and management of personnel, marketing, reservations, among many others. Some of the largest operators being Service Properties Trust, Apple Hospitality, and MCR Hotels. They usually have a base fee that makes it less cyclical than direct ownership, but also an incentive fee that depends on the actual results of the operation. As the manager does not usually build a hotel, this model tends to be less capital intensive. With those definitions out of the way, we can finally tackle the asset-light business model. The asset-light transition basically involves hotel chains moving from the direct ownership business model to the brand or franchising model. This started when hotels, including Marriott, decided to move away from the real estate business and pivot to profiteering from its name and brand recognition. The three major hotel chains have been employing this playbook in the last decade. Marriott, for example, has more than tripled in size over the past 20 years. This is a key benefit of the franchising model. It allows for faster expansion as it requires less capital to grow. With this business model, hotel chains don't have to run all of the hotels that have their flag. Independent owner-operators end up running most of the day-to-day operations. As previously discussed, owners paid to use the names of the flagship brands. This has allowed Hilton, Marriott and Hyatt to unlock faster growth, as they were able to scale up operations without the significant capital requirements usually needed for opening a hotel. Hotel brands also needed to be wary of economic down cycles, as they face the full brunt of downturns, with a large portion of their costs being fixed. As of 2024, Marriott and Hilton own less than 1% of the properties with their flags. The real customer now ends up being the owner-operator, as they pay from 5 to 15% of revenue to the brand. So the brand has to make the economics enticing and work with the owner-operator to continue to scale. Basically, if a lot of owner-operators end up earning bad returns on their investment, the brand will find it difficult to scale. So while the hotel chains remain incentivized to improve the experience of hotels, they are less likely to suffer losses when demand disappears, as the brand will still collect the franchise fees regardless of the profit of the underlying hotel. A very useful illustration of this transition is to look at the case of Hilton. Hilton began to shift to an asset-light business model by divesting its real estate and timeshare segments to focus on a fee-based business. In 2017, Hilton spun off Park Hotels & Resorts, a real estate trust with its most important real estate holdings, and Hilton Grand Vacation, the timeshare business, streamlining its operations and capital requirements. Management highlighted that this would lead to increased capital access as lenders would get a better sense of each business, and enhanced options for equity investors, as they will be able to discern better the operations and pick the right option for their portfolio. Hilton's new model reduced earnings risk, as it would become less sensitive to fluctuations on the economic cycle due to the increased reliance on fees that are tied only to revenue of hotels rather than profits. Capex would also decrease, as the owner-operator would bear those costs. This is highlighted by constant reductions of capex as percentage of EBITDA. Overall, capital expenditures decreased by around 50% as a result of this asset-light shift, enabling more free cash flow to support growth and returns. The main costs became general and administrative expenses, which would become generally fixed even if revenue grew, which led to significant margin expansion, highlighted by the jump in operating margin from 2016 to 2023. With capex significantly reduced and revenue growing faster and more stable, as it became fee-based, the company invested less while growing amounts of profits, which led to significant increase in return on invested capital. This was highlighted by the jump of Hilton's return on invested capital (ROIC), climbing from 4% in 2016 to 27% by 2023. Hilton's new revenue model became less dependent on real estate fluctuations, aligning instead with hotel performance through franchising and management. This also led the company to becoming more appealing to investors. By reducing capital intensity, Hilton offered investors a stable, predictable income from fees, position it as a lower risk investment. One of the key aspects worth emphasizing is that the business operation became less risky, increasing its adaptability to economic downturns. Most investors think of the hotel model as inherently cyclical and volatile. However, Hilton's current approach has turned this idea on its head. The asset-light structure enabled Hilton to maintain a resilient free cash flow generation even amid challenging economic environments. This was highlighted by reduced cash burn during the pandemic. Despite a 55% drop in revenue per available room during COVID-19, Hilton managed to maintain a positive free cash flow by leveraging loyalty programs and reducing capital requirements. All of this highlights how Hilton's shift to asset-light led it to emerge as a more agile, capital-efficient company that provided outstanding returns for shareholders. While the asset-light playbook has been followed by the major brands, there's a certain category of hotels that hasn't been franchised. Brands do operate some hotels, mainly in the 5-star category, or luxury tier, while franchising usually occurs on 4-star hotels and below. This is due to several factors, with the most important ones being brand reputation, complexity of this type of properties, and large investment requirement that might deter franchisees. In the highest end of hospitality offerings, there are amenities like conference rooms, restaurants, pools, and spas that are expected. This leads to higher complexity in operations and logistics. The staff needs more training, and the administration can become too burdensome for some franchisees that lack the proper experience, which is why they are usually directly handled by the brands. Hotel brands are also staking their reputation on these properties, as very poor quality on these flagships can lead to a worse image of the entire brand on the consumer. It also helps that these properties are more enticing, as they have lower cyclicality, as they target a more affluent demographic, and are more profitable than lower tiers. The significant cost involved in these properties also deter franchisees, as they are more expensive to build and manage. Last but not least, we should talk about the elephant in the room. What does Airbnb mean for the hotel industry? Airbnb has become the center of attention as its inflow of 1,000 rooms and houses on every destination has caught the attention of investors and operators. While the surge of Airbnb has led to thousands of headlines about how hotels have been disrupted, the reality is that the trend of growth and profitability of major hotel chains has not reflected this. It seems rather that Airbnb has found its own niche. While hotels cater to business travel and guests who want a reliable experience, Airbnb has been able to find customers looking for beach houses, cabins, among many other experiences. Major hotel brands cater to frequent travelers, as they can get used to the experience and demand certain consistency. Frequent travelers are also usually in some loyalty program, as they can be handsomely rewarded on the long term. According to Marriott, 2/3 of their customers are business related. This type of customer is unlikely to switch to Airbnb. Hilton CEO has also mentioned that home sharing is not something their particular customers want.
Simplistic way, what our customers are telling us, and I got a bunch of them here, so you may or may not agree, but this is what in mass they tell us is they neither need nor want that from us, that they view that as something different. They view what we do as providing the premium product with all of the amenities, with all the technology, loyalty program, wrapped in authentic, heartfelt service delivery at whatever price point it is, and for that they pay a big premium. On average we get a 15% premium system-wide, and they're willing to pay that because it's reliable, it's friendly, it's what they want from an experience point of view. When they're going to home sharing, by and large, it's a great business, but what they're saying is we go there for a different reason.
Overall, it seems that while Airbnb has been successful and has been able to grow its revenue dramatically, it serves as a new niche that's looking for value and is actually creating a new market rather than taking significant share from the old market. Airbnb customers are looking for particular experiences and are willing to give up certain reliability and service in exchange for cheaper prices. While there are definitely customers who in the past were forced to book hotels and are switching to Airbnb due to value, this is not the core customer the major 3 hotel chains are targeting. Recently, Airbnb has also seen prices surge due to Airbnb increasing and adding a lot of fees, which has made them less of a value proposition than they used to be. To sum up, the hotel industry has evolved significantly from its origins in ancient inns and taverns to a global network of branded franchises and asset-light operations. Major hotel chains like Hilton, Marriott, and Hyatt have adapted by embracing an asset-light model that enables faster, more capital-efficient growth and resilience against economic cycles. Through franchising, these brands now benefit from steady revenue streams and reduced capital expenditures, making them less vulnerable to downturns. The industry has also maintained a clear differentiation from its competitors like Airbnb, which has carved out its own niche, catering to travelers seeking unique, cost-effective experiences over consistency and service. While luxury hotel operations and certain high-end brands remain hands-on, especially in the 5-star sector, the majority of hotel properties operate with this new model. Hilton's transition is a prime example of how asset-light strategies enhance profitability and stability, ensuring adaptability in an increasingly competitive and diverse travel market. This evolution underscores the industry's enduring relevance and flexibility in meeting the changing demands of modern travelers, while safeguarding profitability and shareholder returns.